This report is genuinely insane. As we know, there have been a lot of rumors surrounding Giannis Antetokounmpo potentially being traded this offseason, and we know that when a superstar becomes available, Leon Rose looks very closely at the New York Knicks and eyes a potential move. Meanwhile, there's been a large group of Knicks fans who are concerned that there are too many big contracts on the New York Knicks between guys who have spent a lot of time injured and just won't be sustainable throughout their entire contracts. And we're going to break that down because there's a lot of people who think that maybe the Knicks should try to package some of these contracts for a star player once again and make another blockbuster trade. And we're going to break all that down. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here. And guys, if you're enjoying the content, if you're having fun watching Knicks Digest and you're part of that 69 nice percent of people not subscribed, make sure to hit the button. If you've been part of that 31%, I appreciate it so much. Make sure to leave a comment down below so I know that you've been a part of this group. I'll definitely get back to you. Ask me a Knicks question, give me your hot take, literally anything, and we'll discuss. But guys, let's jump into the video because there's a lot to discuss with the New York Knicks right now, specifically Giannis Antetokounmpo, as there's been a report that the New York Knicks very likely could be Giannis Antetokounmpo's next team. Now, yes, like all of you saying this right now, this is absolutely nuts. I don't believe it. It's just a flooring report because you'd never expect the New York Knicks, a team that's made a ton of blockbuster trades and virtually given up so many assets already, would be in position to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. However, maybe, just maybe, the New York Knicks might be able to pull this off, as there have been multiple reports about Giannis leaving the Milwaukee Bucks, and now Shams Charania has even revealed that Giannis could be eyeing an exit from the Bucks, saying Giannis Antetokounmpo loves the Bucks, but he loves winning more. That's why everyone in the Bucks organization knows what's at stake this season. Every summer when Giannis looks around and he looks at the Bucks roster, he looks for sustained long-term winning. Where will he be able to find that? He has said publicly that if he feels like he is not attainable, if winning is not attainable in Milwaukee, he will look elsewhere. And on top of that, Shams also mentioned that the Bucks went out and acquired Kyle Kuzma. They're paying Doc Rivers a substantial amount while still paying Adrian Griffin after they fired him after just half a season, and saying the Bucks need to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals level to show Giannis that they're a sustainable team, that they are still a winning team that a superstar could win a championship with. Because recently we have not seen that. Since the Bucks won the NBA Finals in 2021, they've been on a downward spiral since. Before that 2021 season, Giannis and the Bucks were looked at as a team that was very good in the regular season, had a lot of success, but then once the playoffs came around, every time they'd have an exit, it was always disappointing. Whether that was before the 2021 championship or very quickly after the 2021 championship, we also saw the Bucks dropping first-round series or just dealing with a bunch of injuries, specifically to guys like Chris Middleton, and Giannis dealt with an injury, and the Miami Heat took advantage of that and beat the Milwaukee Bucks in 5 games when the Bucks were the first seed just a few years after they won the NBA Finals. Since the Bucks won the Finals, there have been a lot of people very disappointed with the way the Bucks have went about everything they've done, whether it was panic trading Drew Holiday for Damian Lillard because that's what Giannis wanted, whether it was making the Kuzma deal, which is still pretty new and people are trying to figure out if that's the move or not, a bunch of other moves as well, and now we just keep seeing more and more stuff go down for the Milwaukee Bucks that feels like Giannis Antetokounmpo is preparing himself to request a trade. I mean, we've already seen Shams reveal that Bobby Portis has been suspended for 25 games for violating the NBA's anti-drug policy, and the reason for that is because Bobby Portis reportedly took the wrong medication for an injury, and now he's out for 25 games after making a mistake. Is that the truth? I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. Some people will agree and think, oh, it's just an honest mistake. This is stupid that Bobby Portis is getting suspended for this long, or maybe it's not and his agent's lying for him to protect his value, which also would make sense. So that's up to you guys. But where the New York Knicks come into play here is in a recent odds reveal, the Knicks are the favorites for Giannis Antetokounmpo in a trade if he is to get traded off the Milwaukee Bucks. The Knicks are the favorites, and here's where things get interesting. The Brooklyn Nets are second, meaning Giannis is most likely to end up in New York, a place that he's been outspoken about loving, a place that has a massive Greek population in America. There's a lot of sense to why Giannis would want to make the move to New York if he were to leave the Bucks. There's a lot, and I mean a lot of things that just makes sense for Giannis to be a star in New York. Now, here's the thing. When you look at the Knicks or the Nets, I honestly think these odds should be flipped. The Nets have so many draft picks to work with. And yeah, a lot of them are really not very good draft picks that the Knicks are giving them, while the Knicks are going to continually win. But that's where the Knicks part of things come in. The Nets, they have a bunch of Knicks draft picks. So the Knicks know one thing. They have to continually win for a while. The Nets have up to their 2031 draft pick from the Mikal Bridges trade. And the Knicks, essentially what they need to do is keep one thing: sustained winning. The thing that Giannis Antetokounmpo wants most. The Brooklyn Nets have never had sustained winning, outside of the early 2000s. So I don't see Giannis getting traded there, obviously, because they're not very good. Now, yes, they could trade for Giannis, and they would have the assets and the cap space and the tradable contracts to turn around and make another trade for another good player, whether that be a Ja Morant, who's seemingly on the not necessarily on the trade block, but the Grizzlies are interested in moving him, amidst a bunch of other teams as well, with that Nicholas Claxton contract that would become tradable if you attach another pick to it. You got a few other tradable contracts. If you're going to trade for a guy like Giannis, you probably want to keep around Cameron Johnson after weirdly keeping him. D'Angelo Russell's a free agent, so you got some money coming off the book. The Nets are in a position where they would be able to trade for Giannis, but they would not necessarily have the sustainable winning that Giannis is looking for. Especially not owning their own draft picks puts the Nets in a situation where they'd want to try to win, but at the same time, it's hard to imagine the Brooklyn Nets doing anything right because that's just a rare occasion. Meanwhile, the New York Knicks, I understand that pot, kettle, I get it. But since Leon Rose came to the New York Knicks, the identity changed. He got rid of the coaching staff. He got rid of most of the front office, brought in his own guys, and it's worked beautifully. Since Leon Rose took over, the literal following year, the New York Knicks made the playoffs. The year after they didn't, Leon had a bad offseason. He signed Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier to 2 contracts that didn't work out. I didn't think Kemba Walker got a fair shake of things. Yes, he couldn't play defense, but at the same time, he was the only point guard on roster who could really control the offense and run the tempo, and he had a lot of good moments with the Knicks, including a 40-point game. I think Kemba kind of just got an odd man out situation that made no sense, and they shouldn't have made Alec Burks the starting point guard. I think the Knicks could have made the playoffs if Kemba stayed in as the starting point guard. Julius Randle played better when Kemba Walker was the point guard because there's an actual floor general to help set Julius up. Meanwhile, RJ Barrett had a really rough start to the season that he eventually did turn around in a game against the New Orleans Pelicans and ended up becoming the Knicks' best player that season. But all that led to the Jalen Brunson signing with the Knicks, so all's well that ends okay. But these other teams don't make too much sense. The Los Angeles Lakers don't have the assets to move for Giannis. The Los Angeles Clippers don't have the assets to move for Giannis. The Houston Rockets absolutely do. The Golden State Warriors sort of do. The Toronto Raptors definitely have the assets. The San Antonio Spurs just gave a ton away for De'Aaron Fox, so maybe they have the assets, but it seems a little difficult for them to pull it off. And the Oklahoma City Thunder, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because none of us need this, do have the assets to trade for Giannis as well. So a bunch of these teams do have assets while some don't, and it might just be Giannis's preferred destinations, like a bigger market in the Los Angeles Lakers or the New York Knicks or the Miami Heat or Golden State Warriors. And that does identify with what Giannis said recently. As after the Luka Doncic trade, Giannis said, I want Luka to the Lakers. I want Nikola Jokic to the Knicks. I want all the Europeans to go to the big markets to see something incredible. That's what I want. This is my dream. Well, if it's your dream, Giannis, maybe you should follow that dream and come to the Knicks on a discount. Giannis is under contract for 4 more years, meaning if the Knicks wanted to acquire Giannis, the easiest way to do it is definitely wait for free agency, because in 4 years, most of the Knicks contracts are off the books. He's a free agent. That would make it 2029, and essentially that's the same year Anthony Edwards is a free agent, who I imagine the Knicks are going to have their sights more set on. As the Knicks, they're trying to do what the Warriors do when they get bad. They don't rebuild, they reload, and the Knicks will still have Karl Anthony Towns around 33, 34 years old. He's still going to be a very, very talented player in the NBA, probably still around an all-star caliber player. Jalen Brunson's going to be around the same age as well. He's going to be 33, 32. Brunson he probably won't be as good as he is right now, but he'll still be a very, very good NBA player. I mean, Josh Hart will probably he'll be a bit older and might be slowing down, and Kevin McCullough Jr. will have taken over in that Josh Hart role, or that's what the Knicks hope is going to happen. On top of that, you'll see Mikal Bridges maybe still on the Knicks, and OG Anunoby, I'm not too sure about that one. I think OG Anunoby's not going to finish this contract with the Knicks, if you ask me. Obviously, it's a long way off, and the Knicks like this core, and they're not going anywhere for a while, but eventually, things will probably change once those contracts get to the end, and the Knicks are obviously in a different position, whether they won the NBA Finals or not. Plus, you never know what they're going to do in the draft. Maybe Pacome ends up breaking out. Maybe Kevin McCullough ends up breaking out, or Ariel Hukporti, or Tyler Kolek, and they become a much bigger part of the roster than anyone thought possible. So you can't predict the NBA future in 4 years. Go back 4 years ago, see where all these players were, and you'd think, oh my. Like, look at Luka Doncic on the Lakers, Jimmy Butler on the Warriors, Jalen Brunson having a great playoff series and being some guy who used to be a role player and now is a superstar on the New York Knicks, Karl Anthony Towns on the New York Knicks, the Minnesota Timberwolves are Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert. Like, so much has changed in 4 years that you can't predict what's going to happen in the NBA in the next 4 years. So why can't Giannis end up on the Knicks, essentially, is what I'm saying, I guess. But at the same time, I do think the Golden State Warriors are the rightful favorites for Giannis. Giannis has been close with Steph Curry and Steve Kerr for a while. It would make sense. They could use that Jonathan Kuminga contract and add some more onto it. However, this is Knicks Digest, so we're going to talk about the New York Knicks right now, guys. This is the trade that the Knicks can make financially work in the offseason this year, just because, I mean, we can't predict contracts in 4 years from now. OGs will know, but a guy like Mitchell Robinson, who knows where he'll be in 4 years, and I don't think it'll be with the Knicks. Spoiler alert. But if the Knicks wanted to make a move, Mitchell Robinson, his contract is wrong here because it's this year's contract, and this would be if the trade happened today, not in the offseason. And Mitchell Robinson, his contract next year is $12.9 million, which does dip below the second apron for the Milwaukee Bucks. So everything works out, and their contracts all are even, and everyone's happy. And also the Bucks can probably get out of the second apron so they can cut some more money if need be. We know the Knicks and the Bucks have recently made a deal, so the front offices know each other well from the Delon Wright, Jericho Sims trade. And I mean, it is an interesting idea, but the Knicks, they don't have a lot of draft capital to work with. They'd have to trade 3 pick swaps and OG and Mitchell Robinson. OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson are both win-now players, so the Bucks would have to essentially flip them. And who knows how valuable OG's contract is on the open market. It depends what other teams think of him. Now, yes, there were teams willing to sign him to a big contract because OG's very good at defense and affects winning really positively. But if the Bucks trade Giannis, they're not looking for winning. Look, guys, it's an insane report. I don't really think Giannis is going to ever end up on the New York Knicks, but stranger things have happened. Guys, let me know what you think down below. Like this video, subscribe, turn on post notifications. Have a great day, and go Knicks.